you talked about content coverage, and I want to come back to the insurance thing because I do have an umbrella policy kind of generic question. But these are all
Mhm.
things I didn't know. I don't think many people know. You sign up for Progressive or whoever. Like I got insurance, but you talked about content coverage, and you're like, it gets a little sticky. Homeowners versus renters, and what's
Mhm.
covered. If you want to go into that a little bit, I found that super interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you're a perfect example with your ADV setup, right? And all the BMW riders out there with their bikes all set up and their tents and their camps and their, cooking gear, drones. You could have a few $1,000s worth of just cameras in one of your boxes, right? That is part of content coverage. And your content coverage with a bike generally is, your panniers, your boxes, things like that. It's not necessarily covering your collision and comprehensive is not covering the contents of those boxes. Your collision and comprehensive is covering the boxes.
Okay.
And generally speaking, what it means is your homeowner's insurance actually then covers the contents of what's in those boxes. And your homeowner's policy covers the way to look at it, and this was described to me, is your homeowners covers anything. Like if you shook your house upside down and all the things that fall out of the house that you could take out of the house and put in a car or your bike, that's part of your content coverage with your homeowners. And as soon as it leaves your house, the cameras, the drone, the tents, the cooking equipment, all of that, as soon as it leaves the house, some policies, and this is where it gets complicated, only cover 10% of the total value that you've insured for your content coverage for the home. So if your homeowner's policy has, let's just say, $300,000, then you have $30,000 in content coverage when it leaves the house and goes in the back of your truck or on the back of your bike. And that's usually enough for most people. When it gets complicated is for people who rent and ride and do, carry all this gear. They only sometimes only have $30,000 in coverage and content coverage for their homeowner's policy or renter's policy. So that means they only have 3 grand
Mm.
in coverage out the door. And as you know, with equipment and cameras and drone, like all these things, that can add up really quickly, and you only have partial coverage then. Um, and to be clear, and this may be for anybody thinking this through, if it's not your fault, the other side is responsible for all those things.